Hello. On today's video, we're going to be looking at another creature from Castlevania that I made into a Pathfinder 2nd Edition creature. It is named Debiru, which is just Romanized devil in Japanese. But because its name was Cthulu or devil in the game, I decided to try and take that translation romanization and give it its own name just so that it doesn't get crossed over with anything else. So we'll get into it. Debiru, this strange fiend already I'm messing up. Sorry everyone. This strange fiend seems reluctant to fight, but be wary, its reluctance is not born of cowardice. So it's a rare, large, unholy fiend, level 7. It's got a perception of 18 and greater dark vision. Speaks Common, Chthonian, Demonic, and Diabolic. Much like several other fiends that I've written from Castlevania, it's not going to be specifically set down a particular type of fiend, just because of not trying to cross the setting too hard. And like we say over here in Devilish or Fiendish, like many of the castle's denizens, the Debiru, its name even derived from the term devil, is not associated with a specific type of fiend, but rather the more particular evils of the castle's domain and its own unholy void. So let's get into it. They've got acrobatics, athletics, deception, diplomacy, intimidation, and religion. They have a strength of 4, dex of 2, con of 4, intelligence of 2, wisdom of 6, and charisma of 4. And they have the ability Reticence. They cannot take hostile actions against a creature unless that creature has taken hostile actions against the Debiru or its allies. What constitutes hostile actions are determined by the GM, and this does not prevent the Debiru from meddling or otherwise attempting to foil a creature's plans non-violently. So they are not necessarily an immediate combat threat, though they could have allies that kind of push you into combat. So the GM can pretty easily get a Debiru into a fight with you, but it doesn't have to. And they've got these social skills and abilities to sort of go about things in a more non-violent way. But that does not mean that they are not capable of great violence. They are. They have an AC of 24, Fortitude of 16, Reflex of 14, and Will of 18. They're relatively slow in the game and hulking, so it's hard for them to avoid attacks, but they are quite tough. 120 hit points, resistance to cold and fire 10 because they have both fire and cold abilities, and weakness to holy 5. It has a free action defensive reaction called Sudden Drop, and if they are the target of a strike, spell attack, or effect that requires a reflex save while they are in the air, they immediately begin falling, gaining a +2 circumstance bonus to AC against the attack or its reflex, or to its reflex save against the triggering effect. It may use a reaction to arrest a fall after using Sudden Drop, so that way it's not going to die if it is like 60 feet off the ground when this happens. So they do fall to the ground, but it's not going to kill them because they get to use Arrest a Fall, which is a reaction that lets them, for a relatively easy acrobatics check, fall to the ground for 0 damage, as long as they have a fly speed. Speaking of, a fly speed of 30 feet and a standard ground speed of 25. They have a Claw, which has the Agile, Cold, Finesse, Reach 5 feet, and Unarmed traits that deals 2d6 plus 7 slashing plus 1d6 cold. Most of their fire abilities come from Divine Innate spells, in which they have 1 4th rank Breathe Fire, 2 2nd rank Blazing Bolts, a Breathe Fire at 1st rank at will, and the Ignition, Frostbite, and Shield cantrips. And then their major cold ability comes out of Rime Wave Slash, a 2-action cold divine ability, in which it unleashes a wave of freezing energy from his claws, unleashing a 30-foot long, 15-foot tall line along the ground, dealing 68 cold damage. with a basic reflex save of 25. If there's a creature in the first space of the line, the Debiru may also make a claw strike against them. The Debiru cannot use Rhyme Wave Slash for 1d4 rounds. And this is based off of one of their more powerful attacks in the game that's a little rarer, but they slam their claws down into the ground, and a large wave of cold damage comes out. And normally it's next to impossible to avoid unless you've got double jump. So that's why there's a specific height. But I also thought that when I wrote this, I wasn't necessarily thinking about it that hard, but the way I've worded it here, it actually travels along the ground. So if there is a change along the height and ground, or there's an interruption in the terrain, like a drop, it'll stop. It'll go down and or up, and it'll change height. So it's got that. But let me know what you think of the Debiru, and I will see y'all next time.